I do feel कि because Germany is mostly a cold country, I think 12 में से 8 महीने यहाँ पे ठंड ही होती है. किसी को भी अपनी ज़िंदगी में दोस्त बनाने से पहले they don't force these kind of forced connections कि 12 बजे रोज़ बात करनी है या फिर बर्थडे पे विश करना है. A big disclaimer over here कि all these opinions are my own. How to win German friends and influence them. ये मेरी वीडियो का टाइटल होना चाहिए था, but I thought about it. If I am credible enough to make a video about winning German friends, and बहुत सोचने के बाद मैं इस कंक्लूजन पे आया कि किसी को भी अपनी ज़िंदगी में दोस्त बनाने से पहले इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप उनके कल्चर को समझें कि उनके बैकग्राउंड कैसा है. इसलिए इंस्टेड ऑफ ट्राइंग टू गिव यू ट्रिक्स टू मेक जर्मन फ्रेंड्स, I think I will go over a few things that makes Germans unique, makes them special, and why you should make them your friends and how it could impact your life, especially in Germany. So the first thing I want to share about Germans in general is they tend to be quite pragmatic and stoic. Abhi, a big disclaimer over here कि all these opinions are my own, they are my personal experiences, and of course हर एक बंदे को एक अलग फ्रेंड सर्कल मिलता है, अलग लोग मिलते हैं. But just to take you back in history, the reason that Germans tend to be a bit stoic and pragmatic is because the first reason is कि यहाँ पे things are a bit cold. The weather is a bit cold. It doesn't mean that Germans are cold people per se, but especially if you come from a warm country like India, it so happens that Indians tend to be more warm and more spontaneous and more flexible with the chaos. But normally cold countries में क्या होता है कि because of the temperature, because of the way they are brought up, because of the tradition around their houses, they tend to be a bit reserved. इसका एक scientific, not scientific per se, but इसका एक analogy would be कि when it's warm, you are quite open. You like do not mind removing your shirt or going out a lot more. But when it's cold, you need to like reserve your energy. जब गर्मी होती है तो लोग काफ़ी खुल के बात करते हैं, थोड़ा हवा आने की ट्राई करते हैं अपनी बॉडी में. जब ठंड होता है तो people tend to put their hands in their pockets. They speak a bit softly, a bit slowly, trying to like reserve some energy. For example, I think एक पंकज त्रिपाठी के काफ़ी interesting video था where he explained how actors, when they play roles of people from colder countries, tend to differentiate their body language as compared to the ones that they play from warmer countries. तो इसी की analogy को थोड़ा आगे लेके I do feel कि because Germany is mostly a cold country, I think 12 में से 8 महीने यहाँ पे ठंड ही होती है. The nature of Germans is of a cold country. They are not very spontaneous. They might not appreciate people shouting at them. उनको चिल्ला के बात करने में इतने मज़े नहीं आते unless they are drunk. That's a side disclaimer. But overall, when you come here, the first thing you would notice, especially if you're coming from India, कि यहाँ पे सब कुछ structured है. Things needs to be done in a certain way. You need to be punctual. You need to be, on time everywhere. You can't just knock at your neighbor's door at 8 p.m. just to hang out with them. Things we often do in India. So that's the first difference here in Germany. And if you are careful of this fact, and if you, acknowledge this fact, it might be easier for you to make German friends. For example, जब मैं यहाँ पे आया था, I realized कि if I want to meet my friends regularly, I have to take appointments with them. हमको एक हफ्ता पहले ही उनको बोलना पड़ता है कि हम अगले संडे मिलने चलते हैं 12 से 2 के बीच में. And you would often see that Germans make an appointment of that in their calendar. I think I have learned to appreciate that because इससे कि that person has made up their mind to meet with you and have given you a slot in their calendar. तो मतलब आप पक्का उनसे मिलोगे, कोई last minute there will be no cancellation and all sorts of things. Second thing that I want to share with you is again थोड़ा जर्मनी में unlike India जो मैंने पाया है कि इंडिया में अपना डेटा को हम इतना we don't protect it that much, especially personal data like phone numbers, emails and all these things. But Germany में actually personal data is a very big deal. There's a special word for that called Datenschutz, which is data protection. And इसका मतलब होता है कि it's very easy for us Indians to go to an Indian or go to anywhere in the world and ask those people about their phone number, about their email address in the first meeting. But Germany में if you meet somebody on the street and if it's not like a business convention and stuff, and if you ask them for their phone number, because you want to, connect them with them as friends and get to know them better, they might be a bit hesitant. Again, that depends on the context and it depends आप किससे मिल रहे हो, कहाँ पे मिल रहे हो. But the more polite thing in Germany would be कि if the environment is right, if you have had a good conversation, if you had a good connection, or even if you had a brief talk and you're in a rush and you want to talk to them, you can always ask them if they will be opposed to giving you their phone number or their email address. They might be more willing and more inclined towards giving you your email address because email is still not as personal as a phone number. But if you directly go and ask somebody for their phone number, they might be a bit hesitant about it. इसका एक short anecdote ये है कि जब Second World War हुई थी, तो after the Second World War, Germany was split into two countries, West Germany and East Germany. और East Germany में there was a special police called the Stasi police. East Germany was influenced by the USSR, तो Soviet Union की काफ़ी principles जैसे वहाँ पे KGB था, यहाँ पे भी एक Stasi police थी who were trying to track all of their people and trying to make sure that जो कम्युनिज्म की आइडियोलॉजी है और जो ईस्ट जर्मनी के इंटरेस्ट हैं लोग उसके हमेशा फेवर में बोलें. दे डोंट ट्राई टू speak in favor of the West or speak in favor of capitalism because उस टाइम पे USSR was trying to make sure that East Germany remains a strong front of theirs and it wanted to make sure that the people of East Germany don't try to break into West Germany and they were trying to like protect their interests back then. इसलिए Stasi police was a very big thing and people were afraid of them being reported or somebody spying on them. इसलिए I think to some extent वही mindset और वही ideology with data is being carried forward. I actually tend to appreciate that because जब आप लोगों से मिलते हो कहीं पर भी, you do want to filter out कि कौन आपके दोस्त हैं, who has the right to take your phone numbers and enter in your personal space, in your personal circle, versus somebody who is an acquaintance of yours and you want to keep them at an arm's distance. Maybe eventually you would make them your friend. मेरा एक दोस्त है, he's actually Indian but now he has the German passport and he has this philosophy of a 6 months probation period before actually making somebody an actual friend. So you're not a friend in the first instant you meet this person, but it takes time. They take their time to actually welcome you in their friend circle, which is very interesting. And इसका एक फ़ायदा है कि once you pass this 6 months of probation period, you are sure to be friends for life because once you are actually friends with a German person, then you will be friends with them forever. It wouldn't be like कि आप आज दोस्त हैं and कल आप दोस्त नहीं हैं. The third thing I want to say that Germans are quite pragmatic. इसका मतलब है कि I think us Indians are a bit emotional in some cases. When we miss our friends, we call them up spontaneously and we try to keep in touch with friends that we know from school, even if they live in the other part of the world, and we have to call them up at 12 at midnight because of the time difference. In this regard, I feel Germans are a bit more pragmatic and they don't force these things on themselves. इसका मतलब ये है कि if there are two very close friends of yours who are Germans and they move away, they go to the US for example, or they move in a different time zone, they wouldn't necessarily try to call you at 12 at midnight to make sure that you can still talk every week, or they wouldn't like call you up at 12 midnight when it's your birthday to make you feel special. But I don't think it means that they don't really want to be in your life. It's just that they are more pragmatic when it comes to relationship. They don't force these kind of forced connections कि 12 बजे रोज बात करनी है या फिर बर्थडे पे विश करना है. And but the beauty of this entire friendship is that if you meet on a different day, if you meet after a whole year and you haven't been in touch, when you meet, it will be as if you were like you just met the day before. तो ये जो समय का gap होता है बीच में, they don't let this affect the friendship at all. हाँ, आप रोज उनसे बात नहीं कर पाएंगे, but of course whenever you meet with them, they will make sure that you feel as if you were in touch this entire time and nothing would be too awkward in my experience. Finally, एक आखिरी tip which is quite obvious is if you want to be friends with Germans, then it's always better to learn German. and speak with them in German. That helps you take away that barrier and become friends with them quite easily. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. अगर आप जर्मनी में हैं, if you're new over here, I will highly recommend कि आप अपने friend circle को बढ़ाइए. Don't just stick with your comfort zone friends. By that I mean कि normally मैंने observe करा है कि if you're from India and you come to Germany, you tend to stick with Indians. You have your own bubble and आप उनके आसपास ही friends उनके आसपास ही रहते हैं. Your friends are limited to Indians, which is natural because as humans we want to minimize the resistance and be in our comfort zone. But if you are here, I would encourage you, of course, appreciate your Indian friends, appreciate the friends that you feel comfortable with, but try to make friends outside of your comfort zone. Try to make German friends, try to make American friends, and to make friends from all over this world. The more you try and the more you try to make an effort, I'm sure आपका friend circle उतना ही बढ़ेगा, your network would increase, which will eventually help you in a better quality of life, in job search, for example, or just to not only survive in Europe, but thrive in Europe. And if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I keep on uploading videos to help you live a better life in Germany. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck.